So hey dudes, so let me ask you guys something, man. You guys are not only fighters and martial artists, but you've been around the fight game for a long time. You've probably seen hundreds or more fights. And
Yeah.
what would you say is like the most important aspect of the fight game? If someone like, let's say someone was like, man, I'm thinking about it. A high school wrestler comes to you, 17 years old, and thinking like, dude, when I'm 18, I want to start fighting. I want to start training MMA and take a fight. Like, what are you going to? What are the lessons you want to impart on somebody like that?
I'm gonna give a short answer, and I'm gonna let TJ take this one because I think TJ, I we've talked about it before, and I think you, I don't know if it's on your mind or not or whatever. But anyway, what I would say is mental, uh,
Yeah.
mental aspects, and not just like believing in yourself and having the confidence to go out there and do work and everything and stuff. Like mentally accepting the fact that you're gonna end up dead, you're gonna end up paralyzed, you're gonna end up uh not being able to pronounce your fucking s's all of a sudden in your 40s. uh you're not uncontrollable headaches. What are all the other symptoms and things that other fighters have complained about and everything? Mentally being able to accept the fact that it's going to happen to you, like it's going to, not just the fact like, oh, it's not going to happen to me. No, 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 it's going to. Just accept the fact that it is. Hopefully it doesn't, you know accept the fact that it's going to happen to you, and then also accept the fact that you're not going to make that much money. You might end up with all of those same things, never get what you wanted out of it, end up fucking over a whole bunch of relationships because of it,
Yeah.
and not and and I don't know what else to how else to put the to wrap that part up or whatever, right? Accepting all of that, but then knowing that what you are going to get out of it means that much more to you, then go for it. Because like when I started off fighting, like if I could go back and do everything, like I'd still be in there fucking fighting. Like I needed it. Like it was one of those things. Like I needed to fight. Otherwise, I was probably not necessarily going to end up in jail or whatever, right? But like the, fighting wasn't one of those things that made me happy. This is the best way to explain it. Fighting didn't make me happy. It was a release of pain. Like so I went out there and I tried to beat the fuck out of everybody because like I got to release that in a physical form finally, and I didn't know how to verbally express myself and shit as a child. Like I just this it like I got to do it now 100% and just fully release it all. And that's what it always was for me, So like the damage that could possibly happen or whatever was never a factor because I just knew like it didn't matter because I'm gonna go out there and get this shit done. I'm gonna get some money. I'm gonna get some bitches. I'm gonna get, like all of that was worth it to me. Plus the fact of release of pain, and I got to feel happy at those little moments and shit. And then eventually, once I found happiness, like actually being happy, it's like I don't need fighting anymore. Like so it's like having one of those things like that's where you accept the fact that you're gonna get a lot of damage, you're gonna get very minimal out of it. But like me getting to the place that I'm in right now in my life, I would have never have found it if it wasn't for fighting. So I would never do I would oh I mean I would never not do it again. I would do it again every single time. But I would never, like my kids are going to play baseball. They're I'm going to try to keep them away from this as much as possible, but like if they decide that hey, no, this is what I want, and they accept it, then go for it. But hopefully it's not, because hopefully they live different lives. And there's always something, like people say there's a little bit of crazy in all the fighters and stuff, and I truly believe, because there's people that have had not who's to say what a perfect life is? That's that that let's say like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, somebody who's like so nice and probably didn't grow up in the fucking ghetto, obviously, but went up to be a fighter and is fucking good at it. You know, you don't have to come from pain and suffering to be good at it and everything, or to have that desire. So it's like, I mean, there's certain people that just have it, and who am I to say that you don't or that you shouldn't follow that? You know, but I just, hopefully everybody accepts the fact of what they are risking versus what they potentially could get out of it.
Mhm.
And if it's one of those things that you're half-assing, or like you want to dip your toes in the water and see if you want to do it, don't do it. Everybody that I fought as an amateur and everybody that I fought all the way up to my first pro fights is retired now because they thought that they were trying to do it, and I went out there and fucking killed them because I knew that this is all I fucking had, and I was never going to be able to leave the country, make any money, stay in hotels, fuck bitches, be on TV or anything if it wasn't for, like, I mean, and even come home to a place to stay if it wasn't for beating people's asses and knocking people out. You know, and especially like how emphasized the knock of the night bonus was for the UFC and stuff. Like, I had that much behind me, and all of those guys had kids, families, and everything, seeing if they wanted to do it. And it just, it like right now, it's like I'd be one of those guys where I'd see if I'd want to do it, and I'd get matched up with the killer. Like with that same mindset, I'd be fucking killed right now, you know. And I guess TJ, I said that I wasn't going on a rant. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. That's one of the biggest aspects. I mean, obviously, fighting is a very physical sport. It's as physical as it gets. You're literally fighting another person. But fighting is one of those things you truly have to want to do. I mean, beating people up, I mean, as fighters know, winning an easy fight, making it look easy, that's a great night. It makes you feel fucking like you're the shit. But you have to be prepared for those dog fights. You have to be prepared for a guy that's going to take your best shot, keep walking forward and keep coming, and you got to be prepared to be the nail sometimes. Being the hammer's fun, but being the nail sucks ass. Waking up the next morning and you can't open your eye because it's swollen shut, and you look in the mirror and you can barely recognize yourself. I mean, these are real things. It's a very serious sport. Losing a basketball game, losing a football game, those suck. That hurts your ego. But losing a fight is a very physical thing, but the mental aspect plays such a big role in that. So I agree with what Damian said a lot there. Just being able to accept what can happen. I mean, all the time you tell someone, oh yeah, I've competed, or it comes up in a way, and they go, oh, well, what if you get knocked out? Did you get knocked out? And it's like, well, no, I've been lucky to avoid it, but I've come to terms with it. You know what I mean? And you kind of laugh it off and go, well, if I do get knocked out, I hope it's a highlight. I hope it looks good at least. I don't want to get caught with the jab and fucking fall. You know what I mean? I don't want to get put to sleep stepping backwards or something like that. So you kind of joke with it, but you have to come to terms. And it's one of those things to where, people, everybody has their different reactions before fights. Some people call it nerves, some people, butterflies, whatever it is. And it's one of those things where when you go into a fight, you're never nervous about getting beat up. I mean, you come to terms with that, but it's understanding what can happen on a truly bad night and being able to prevent that. And that's what the work you do in the gym is for. And so if there was someone who really wanted to fight and they're coming up, I would ask them to really think if they want to do it. And if the answer is yes, without a doubt, then we'll work on the physical stuff. Then we'll work on everything else. But you truly asking yourself if you're prepared to fight. Fighting is a big thing.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. It's almost like you guys would almost try to talk someone out of fighting. Like
I'm sorry. I want to address that really quick. Yes, I will talk. Anybody who's telling me that they want to do it, I will talk them out of it the best way that I can. And if they say that they still want to do it after I just preach to them how they shouldn't, okay, let's go to practice, bro.
Let's fucking go. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. I heard this quote, and I wish I could remember who said it, but it was the quote was something like, I thought I wanted to fight until I met somebody who really wanted to fight.
Yes.
And it was kind of the statement of the half-hearted, half-committed fighter. And that is not a good place to be. And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think, like you said, you could want it and you could be really talented. But you know what? MMA ain't boxing. The chances that you go a 19, 20 and 0 before you get your first real push in the sport and then start to make, $1 million a fight and getting on pay-per-view and everything. Let's face it, most of the guys you and I see, as much as I love and respect each and every one of them for what they do, their career is 9 out of 10 of them are not going where they want to go because the talent pool is deep. There's a ton of awesome martial artists in MMA, just the nature of it, mixed martial arts, matchups make fights, So like George St. Pierre talked about it. He said like rankings almost don't matter because styles make fights. So number 2 versus number 1 may not be a good fight. And in fact, number 8 versus number 1 because of the styles might be a better fight,
Yes.
But we're watching these guys put it all on the line. Some of them are probably not even cashing a check at the end of the night. We know the amateurs certainly aren't. And if they are cashing a check, it ain't a pay-per-view share. They're paying whoever came to the casino to watch them and paid the $40 to get in the door, they're getting a share of that, dude. And it's like they're putting so much on the line for so little, and that's why I respect them so much. And that's part of what makes me as a ring announcer be like, you know what, Bruce Buffer's probably never going to announce this guy. So let me try to be his Bruce Buffer.
Yes.
Let me try to be the guy who just makes the crowd come to their feet for him. Like, I want to be that guy.
Dude, I feel like that's why we clicked right off the beginning, because that's what I want to be, or I guess me and TJ both want to be what Trash Talk wants to be for the local guys.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.